I'm weary and a little discouraged because I work today, and I don't work much. I only work a few hours a week, but it can be very tiring. Today was very tiring, and I'm also feeling a little discouraged because I was at the Fanning Center today, and earlier in the year there was some kind of revival going on with me, and a bunch of supernatural, miraculous things were going on at the Fanning Center. I prayed for a lady who works in the gift shop, and she was healed for like 2 weeks. Now she's worse than ever, to the point where she can't even work, so she's not even at the Fanning anymore. This other lady I know was that close to accepting Christ. I had a number of long conversations with her, just supernatural conversations, and I was waiting for her to say the prayer. You know, she was so close, but yet not. And now I don't see her much, and you know, she just doesn't seem in that same place anymore. Anyway, and there's story after story. It's kind of discouraging now when I go to the Fanning, because it feels like whatever was going on is not going on anymore. But I refuse to be discouraged, because this has nothing to do with me and everything to do with the one who is faithful. So he's still at work. Anyway, humanly speaking, I'm a little weary. I'm a little down. So this video will most likely be less ridiculous than the others, which is maybe a good thing. And what better time to remind myself of the Jesus Journal. So I mentioned to you that I started writing in the Jesus Journal as a way to really try to connect to Jesus. I was really trying to connect to him as my true love. And when I was depressed, I would write in this journal. When I felt hope that maybe God was my true love, maybe Jesus was the husband of my heart that I'd been longing for all along, I wrote in this journal. I kept asking him for some kind of sign to show me that it was true, that he was the one I'd been longing for all along. And, you know, I wasn't just making it up, that his heart was mine, that he felt that way about me, that he loved me that much. And I knew that God loved me. I gotta get rid of this box. I knew that God loved me enough to die for me. Hello. But I just wanted to know, is that the love that I've been searching for all my life? And I was asking him in the Jesus Journal to tell me. So I didn't write in it all the time, just once in a while. It took me about 2 years to write this much. But then on September 5th, 1993, I think in a previous video I said it was like 83. No, I didn't go back in time. So 2 years after I started the Jesus Journal, I had an experience where I was at home worshiping. And by this time I was eyeball deep in worship. I was a worship junkie because it fed my heart. That was the way that I felt kissed by God and could kiss him back. And so I would worship at church, I would worship at home, I would worship in my car, I would worship everywhere. And one day when I was worshiping at home, I was kneeling on the living room carpet, and the song Arms of Love came on, and something happened during that song, and the only way I can describe it is someone walked over to me and wrapped his arms around me. I felt it like a physical thing. There was no one there, at least that I could see, but it was as if someone put their arms around me, and I arched up like this, and I started to weep uncontrollably. And the feeling I had was so intense, I can't really remember it properly. But I do remember thinking at the time, finally, finally. And that one word just kept going through my mind. I was weeping and weeping. I knew that the Lord had his arms around me. And as the song continued, I just was overwhelmed by a feeling of being held by perfect love. the love I'd wanted all along. And after a while, the song ended, and when it did, the feeling of the arms around me just faded away, and I slumped to the floor. I remember I crawled to the bathroom, and I pulled myself up on the sink, and I looked into the bathroom mirror, and I was white as a sheet. I crawled back to the living room, lay down on the couch, and grabbed my journal, which I had there, and I wrote in it, let's see if I can find it. I wrote these words: "He came to me, I felt him holding me. I can't believe it. It happened. He's real." I can't prove it happened, and no one can convince me it didn't. It was an experience that really blew my emotional grid. The feelings I felt were too strong to really remember. Even afterwards, I was just remembering that word, really. Finally, finally. And reading what I wrote. That was my first, I would call it, supernatural, tangible experience of the Lord's presence. And I needed that.